Hello, thank you for joining me for today's video. My name is Tracy Held. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Melbourne in Australia, and today I'm going to show you how to make this little box. Now, it could fit anything. I must admit I haven't really tried to see what else I can fit inside it, because this would be every crafter's dream present. You have a beautiful little box which is all tied up, and inside, ta-da, Tombow glue. So what more could you ask for as a crafter? I think that any crafter would be really excited to get that, although they may not want to open the box to discover what's inside. Let me show you how to make this. I'm going to do my measurements in centimeters, but here are all the measurements in centimeters and inches. We don't need a lot of supplies for this. We're starting with our piece for the box, which I'm using Purple Posy. I'm then using the Hydrangea Haven DSP. I'm using this piece. The piece on the back I wouldn't suggest for this because those flowers are just a little bit too big, but you could use whichever DSP you liked. We're going to use some of the pastel pearls, and I'm using the Everyday Label and the Label Me Fancy Punch. Starting with our card base, we're going to do some scoring. On the short side, we're going to score at 3.8 centimeters. Your cutting blade is out of the way. Okay, 3.8, 6.3, 10.2, and 12.7. And on the long side, we're scoring at 2.5, 13.3, and 16 centimeters. Now, this 16 centimeters is probably the most awkward measurement to get on the trimmer because things are hidden. So what I'm doing is I'm scoring just before the top of that ruler. That's our scoring done. Let me just fold along those score lines because I think it makes it easier to see when I'm cutting if we've got those folds defined. Starting at the bottom of the box, I'm going to cut along each of those score lines, and I'm going to notch the tabs. Along the side, we're keeping that long rectangle, so going to just notch that as well. That makes it sit neater when we're folding up the box. Let me bring my box back in so that I can show you what I'm doing. Now, for the top, I'm keeping that piece, which is going to be the bit that flaps over, so I can remove the rest of the top over here. We just want that end piece. And I'm cutting down my score lines. Again, notch the tabs. And I'm removing that bit over there. The last bit of cutting that I'm going to do is I'm going to take just a little bit off each of those tabs. Again, that's going to make it just that little bit neater when we're sticking it all together. You can measure those on your trimmer if you like, but I just cut. Now, what I did to get my edge over here was getting a little bit creative with the punches. So I've taken my everyday label punch, and this will fit into it, but it needs to go over the top and in, so that you're cutting the bottom end of the flap. And then I'm using my everyday label punch to cut the little slit that we're going to feed the ribbon through. Now, with this, you just need to be a little bit careful, because if you position it like that, you're going to cut the edge off the curly edge off there. So you want to eyeball that your slit is roughly in the middle, but then pull it back. So hopefully in the middle and hopefully kind of straight, but pull back so that we're not cutting off the edge of our tab. There we go. Not 100% straight, but it will do the trick. Now, the only stamping that I did on here was with the Highland Heather. I stamped some of the flowers just along here for a bit of texture when our tag is going to go over it. That's all our stamping and cutting done. That's the shape of what my box looks like once it's all cut. And now we can assemble. We're going to put some glue along here. I'm using Tombow because it's quicker and easier for this, but you could be using your Stamp & Seal Plus or Tear and Tape, whichever is your favorite glue for assembling boxes. That tab is getting stuck down there. And then we're going to fold the two bottom tabs in and put some glue on there, glue there. Now, it doesn't really matter which of the flaps you fold first. I like it that my opening is towards the back, so I'm folding that front flap over. And just don't stab yourself with your picker tool, but just giving it a bit of a push on the bottom. There's our box made, ready to decorate. So this is quick and easy. We're taking our DSP, the two thicker pieces are the ones that are going on the front and the back of the box. The two thinner ones are for the sides. And we've got this very little one which is going over the top. Then I stamped the For You, which is from the Hydrangea Haven stamp set. It's one of the little greetings that's in here. Cut that out with the little tag from the Hydrangea dies. And I'm going to stamp a few more of these flowers to give a little bit of interest. And this time I'm going to stamp it right over. There we go. I'm going to pop a dimensional onto the back of my tag, and yes, I do use the dimensionals right down to the bottom. We can stick that onto the top, making sure that we're sticking it above the slit because that's where our ribbon's going to tie, so we want to leave room for the ribbon. And I'm using one of the pastel pearls. And you can decide which color you want. I used the dark one on the other box, but maybe we'll use one of the lighter purple ones on this one. So I'm just sticking that over the hole in the tag so that it looks like it's attached with a pearl. Taking my ribbon, just going to see how much I want. Give yourself a generous amount to tie the bow. There's nothing worse than trying to tie the bow with a piece of ribbon that's too small. It is a little bit of a waste, but it is worth cutting off the ribbon rather than having to try and tie a bow and deal with that frustration when you don't have enough ribbon. Before you close up, remember to put your Tombow in. And then taking the ribbon around, both ends going up through the slit. And then you can tie your bow. There's our bow tied, there's our boxes, all ready to give to somebody who will be delighted with their little present. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. See you next time. Bye.